just arrived to another place. When we were in Javor, I realized that we are very, very close to another place. This area is famous from its rocks, and especially the granite rock I'm just standing on. You can see a lot of granite bricks. And yeah, that was 11 kilometers to pass from Javor into this place, and we already passed like 4 or 5 quarries being around. And in 1939 or a bit later, anyway, during the Second World War, Germans got a brilliant idea that you can extract those stones, but why pay for a labor if you can build the concentration camps and use the labor of the prisoners to do that. And we just arrived into the Rosen concentration camp. That's where it was. This is where it was located. And so here already we got foundations of the garages, which were located outside the camp perimeter, and you can still see original, I don't know how you call it, we call it like inspection well, so you can check your car underneath. Here is the map showing how the Gross Rosen, we are here, how that system was incorporated in a system of other camps supplying the workforce for all different purposes that Germany built in occupied countries and in Germany itself as well. Here is a Dachau. Dachau was the very, very first German concentration camp built in, if I could remember, 1933 or 4, after Hitler came to power. It mainly served at the very beginning to house the prisons which were the communist, which Hitler considered his political opponents. So we're going to see the grounds first, and later we'll see what is left originally from the camp. and later we go to newly built museum where you can see, well, I expect what remained after the prisoners and after the camp, after the administration, and there will be some more information about the camp and basically about what was happening in all occupied countries around Europe. So basically, that camp, the main purpose of that camp was to supply the labor force for the nearby quarries, but not only, because not far from here there is a system of, well, we think that's supposed to be a system of tunnels. So far it only exists as a separate sites, separated from each other, underground tunnels and all kind of works, which purpose is not really known. They could be prepped as a future factories, underground factories. They could also be built as there is one of the theory that they could be built as one of the Hitler's main layers. Okay, Scottish Explorer will tell you what I mean.
His lair.
Okay, so basically like his HQ, one of his main HQ, and there is a theory that those tunnels are supposed to be connected with each other because they're not located far from each other, but they are located sometimes few dozen kilometers, so they would be quite a nice system of tunnels where you can hide and nobody knows where are you. So the Rosen, which is this camp, was the biggest one from the system of camps which serve as a camp supplying the workforce. And right now we are on the campgrounds, and all we passing are foundations of what has left from the barracks, because like I told you, local people hated the place so much that all the barracks, they were built out of wood, just disappeared. Right after the war finished, they removed all the wood and everything that could be taken. So yeah, I mean, it's not preserved as good as Auschwitz, but yeah, you can see where all the barracks were located. For example, right now on my left we passing the clothing storage place. It's not like massive area, but it was quite a big one, and we already managed to read. There was altogether through Rosen 120,000 people went, of which 40,000 never survived. That is a camp bell that was announcing all the big events in a camp life, you know, like time to wake up, go to work, coming back, food being served. Let me see what else we got in here, because each of these buildings got a description what it was housing. Here, for example, was a deposit warehouse. As the prisoners were coming into the camp, all their belongings were taken off them and stored in here. Obviously all the gold, money, everything that was valuable was stolen by the German country. Here we have a bath. As you can see, a little history. So at the beginning, prisoners were forced just wash outside. And here is, I guess, the furnace to heat up the water. Okay, that used to be a separate, isolated part of the camp where only few got access, and the specially trained radio technicians, prisoners, were brought from Dachau concentration camps, because here they research radio frequency technology, if I can say that like that. Basically they were testing and checking the radio systems brought by the German army from the shot down Allied planes. And yeah, they were, throughout their staying in a camp, they were constantly closed in that area. Even just a few SS crew get access to that site. No one else. I'm just wondering, because as you can see, there are strange sort of like tunnels. Oh yeah, we are next to the perimeter of the camp. But here are quite interesting structures, being sort of like trenches going in a zigzag pattern. I'm just passing through. I wonder what was that, what was purpose of this. Hospital barracks right at the bottom. And here we got more trenches. Anti-aircraft rifts. Camp jail. Here we got a familiar name. And that used to be Blaupunkt workshop. So yeah, strangely enough and quite honestly creepy enough, the war gave us a lot of suffering and bad stuff, but also thanks to war and all those experiments and works carried out, today we got beautiful radios from Blaupunkt, we got medicine from Bayer, we got all sorts of chemicals like washing powders, paints and other stuff from IG Farben, and doctors are able to perform amazing operations on patients, and unfortunately some of those we have thanks to what was happening in places like this. It's quite sad. Well, I have to say, this is the first time I sometimes don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not normally like a heart fainted or whatever, but sometimes I don't know how to say things with dignity in that place and with so they just sound respectfully. That place makes just a fucking impression on you when you hear. There is another part of the camp that is fenced around, and that probably was a part of the camp, but even it says it's dangerous area, and I can see some foundations and remains of something that was built, but I have no idea why is it closed. Probably because it's still in recent years they do some works in this place, and they discover more and more things. And when I was here as a kid, when I was, I don't know, 25 years ago or even more, it was not so many things was available. I remember this is a monument to all the victims of that place. And let's go to this place first. This is another building that the underground remains are still available. The weaver's shop. Or should I say what left of it here. However, on the right hand we got probably reconstructed one of the barracks. That's most likely like they all looked like. Here is the map. You can see how many small camps that area housed. Here you got depictions of how the life looked like for those people. This was their furnace That massive barrack got just one little furnace. And the fence you can see the isolators, which means the fence was obviously under the power. Here we got what's left. This is original. Rosen wasn't a death camp, but obviously from the labor there was a lot of prisoners that used to die here, didn't last the difficulty of the work they have to do. So this is original field crematorium where Germans used to burn the bodies. And that field crematorium used to work at the beginning. Later Germans built a proper crematorium building, which is here, or remains of it. It's obviously a winter right now. It's still second day of Christmas, but you can see behind me that's the camp perimeter, and you got beautiful forests all around. So the scenery is really picturesque. And yeah, if you don't know such a place is located here, you would have never expected. And yeah, I just realized on the other side is one of the quarries, and those places still extract the marble to these days. special block. It used to be a special block for, how do you call it? Well, it was pretty much like a block for a dirty dozen, you can say. A special block for people who used to penal code, people who used to cause a lot of trouble, among other prisoners. We are just passing through the kitchen, prisoner's kitchen, the camp kitchen. And massive area where most likely you got gatherings, and you can see most likely in this place used to be a place of hanging prisoners. We are leaving the camp perimeter and we're going to see more of stuff that's been left after the prisoners. And here is obviously the purpose of the main purpose of this camp to exist. The quarries and the marble and the granite and other rock present in the area. It is difficult to imagine yourself how the life would look like in here. Like I told you before, out of 120,000 people, 40,000 never survived. Some were also evacuated when the Russian front was pushing toward Berlin, and some also died not in the camp itself but on the way to Germany, to other camps, because that was a common practice that Germans didn't want to leave any witnesses. So that's the one. And the second, also they still had hope that it will not go so wrong and they will still be able to survive and to use those prisoners in camps somewhere in surrounded Germany. As we know, that didn't happen, and Now we're going to building that used to be the canteen, SS canteen. You can see the whole camp, how it looked like originally. So this is the part you still cannot get into. So that was also quite a lot of buildings outside. So that was day one of our trip around the region I live in Poland. The day is slowly coming to an end, so I guess we won't be able to film anymore for you today. But we start our big trip tomorrow, and we hope to do way more, hoping to spend another at least 3 days driving around, stopping if we see something interesting. Right now, behind us, I hope that's a proper cloud, snow clouds coming. It's still a bit windy, but we're hoping that sooner or later we will encounter some snow, because as you can see, this area we are right now is already slightly hilly. We got a few volcanoes around, and that's not a joke. In this area we got ancient, about if I could remember, 10 ancient volcanoes. Of course they extinct like millions years ago and they not active, but yeah, here is pretty much where the Polish mountain starts. So yeah, we're hoping at some point to reach the area where we finally see the proper snow. So that's it for today, and I will see you on another exploration which will happen tomorrow. And we would like to say high five!